Hello everyone, this is Pradip from Tech and Training Corporate Solutions. In this video, I'm going to talk about Power Query. Power Query is a new tool in Office 2016. But friends, Power Query is not new, except 2007 version, 2010 and 13 can use the benefit of Power Query. All you have to do is check the description below in this video and click on the link to download Power Query for Excel 2010 and 2013 and use it. You can use all these features that I'm going to do it right now. But if you're using Office 2016, then this feature is inbuilt. You don't need to download anything and you can use this feature as it is. So friends, as you all remember, in my last video, I did speak about Power Query in brief, but I actually did not show the details of how to use Power Query other than just doing one simple method of getting the data from Access database. If you have not seen that video, I would encourage you to see that video. The link is in the description below, as well as you can click on the bottom right corner of the screen to watch that video as well. That video spoke about how can you manage huge data in Excel. So friends, in this video, I'm going to talk about how Power Query can help you to merge different data. And the data that I'm using is even more interesting. The data is of Sachin Tendulkar. Yes, friends, in this video, I'm going to use Sachin Tendulkar as the base data. But before that, just in case if you're interested in learning beyond lookups and pivots in Excel, then you must join my workshop, one-day workshop for Power Query, where I'm going to be talking about different ways of merging the data. You can get the data from a website, you can get the data from your email, you can merge the data, you can slice and dice. A lot of things can be done. And remember, this is a one-day workshop. So you can imagine what all things are you going to learn in Power Query. So friends, if you take too much time in creating the regular reports, then you must learn Power Query. The hours of time can be reduced to few seconds in Power Query. And this training program will be followed by another training program. I'm doing one more day of, which is Excel dashboard. Here, I'm going to be talking about working with different charts, graphs, how to churn the data, millions of rows of record and put it into your Excel worksheet and convert the data into more meaningful format. Trust me, it is going to be like storytelling with your data. So please do get in touch on the contacts below to receive more details about this workshop. If you're not from Mumbai and are interested in this workshop, please fill in the form which is there in the description. So friends, I won't be doing much of more advertising. So let me directly jump over to our practical. Let me explain the scenario and then we'll learn about how Power Query can help us solve that particular problem. Let's take a look. So friends, here's my Excel open. And in this, I'm going to demonstrate a feature where you can merge multiple Excel files into one file. So here is the situation. When I look at my file, you will see that there is a folder with the name Sachin data, which has got the details about Sachin Tendulkar's data for each country. So if I open Australia, you will see that Sachin has played whatever innings against Australia are recorded here. Now here, the assumption that is to be made is your Excel file has to have the same structure of the data. Structure means the columns names should be the same and the column positions should again be the same. Once the column name and column positions are the same, as well as the sheet name, it can easily be merged into one file. You must be thinking, what if my column names are different or sheet names are different, or a lot of ifs and buts. So let me tell you, Power Query is a very detailed topic. In this video, I'm going to go ahead with these constraints only, but in my training program, I'm going to talk in detail about how can you tackle different situations and scenario. So friends, I'll just go ahead with this particular scenario and let's see how do we merge different files into one. But before I talk about the merging of different files into one file, I'll quickly talk about the versioning. The people those who are using Excel 2010 and 13 and have downloaded Power Query need not worry about this version. This is only for the people those who are using Excel 2016 or Office 365 because they have inbuilt version of Power Query. Why am I talking about the version? I'm talking about it because there could be the difference between the options and the screens that I have and the options and the screens that you have. You need not worry if you see something different because I'm going to cover every aspect with respect to every version of Power Query into this video. All you need to do is watch this video till the end. Even if you have the latest version of Power Query, I would still recommend you to watch this video till the end because there are a lot of techniques in Power Query you will learn over here. So to take this further, once you click on File, you need to click on Account, and here you get to see the subscription product name. And older version of Office 365 or 2016 will have the version written right here, but the latest version will have next to About Excel, and here is version 1810. You may have 1610 or 1609, 1703 or 1805. It could be different versions. Lesser this number, the older the version of MS Office is. Yeah. So make sure that if you do not have 18, all you need to do is to get it to 18, you can click on update option and click on update now. If you get this message, that means your office is updated. There is a possibility that you do not have 1810, and when you're clicking this update option, you're still getting that you have all the updates. That will happen if you're using Office from your organization. Your IT department blocks certain update. This could be for security reason. This could also be for testing purpose or different reason, bandwidth and other concerns. They may block the updates. One more reason why you may not see this version is Office 365 again has Insider version, Office Insider. I'm not getting into the details of that. You can just Google about Office Insider updates. You will get to learn more about that. Let me come back to this Excel file, and here I have different files available. I would like to merge all of them into one. Let us see how do I do that. In the Get and Transform group, you will see the option Get Data. Office 2016 users might have New Query over here. You need to click on New Query. Remember, New Query is the older version, Get Data is the latest version. Office 2010 and 13 users will get Power Query here, and over there you have to click on Get Data. Click on File and select the option from Folder. On the screen, I'll click on Browse and browse to the folder where the files are located. So this is Sachin data. I'll click on OK. Folder path here. I'll click OK. Now after I click OK, here I see all the files which are available in that folder. Now friends, the people those who are using the older version of Power Query might not see this window, and directly they will see the next window. So don't you worry. Just watch the complete video, and in that I will also cover what if we have the older version of Power Query and how do you solve the problem. But at the moment, I'm considering the case that you have the updated Power Query, which gives you this combine option. I'll click on that combine and I'll select the combine and edit option. This brings up the combine file screen, and here I see the sheet name sheet 1. Now, when I'm selecting sheet 1, here I'm telling Power Query that in each of these files, you will find a sheet 1 and pick up the data only from that particular sheet. So here we are putting a restriction that every file has to have sheet 1. Otherwise, it will not import that file. Now, you would wonder, you may come up with different sheet names and different file names, or you may have a lot of other situations based on which you want to combine the files. So friends, in this video, I'm not covering those ifs and buts because that will unnecessarily increase the length of this video. This is the basic feature of Power Query. How does it import and combine all the files? In my workshop, I will be covering a lot of other situations and scenario which will help you to reduce your task. But for now, like I said, every file has to have the sheet. I will now click on OK. When I click OK, you will see a new screen coming up, which is nothing but Power Query Editor. So here is the Power Query Editor. Imagine the situation that every time you do a lot of stuff which are regular stuff. So this week you have done those steps Next week, fortunately or unfortunately, you will again have to go through the same steps. Now here, Power Query automatically remembers every step that you're doing. Let us say I go ahead and remove this column, which I don't need anymore. The moment I remove that column, the new step has got added. That means Power Query now remembers this new step of removed column. Similarly, let us say I would like to select minutes and ball faced. I would like to remove these two columns as well. I also have a situation here where if you look in this folder, there are some duplicate data. So Australia copy and Australia, Kenya copy and Kenya, there are some duplicate data. And I want to ensure that just in case if the file gets the duplicate record, our query should deal with it automatically. In order to solve that problem, I'll select on runs, scroll the screen towards right. By holding shift key, I click on start date. That selects all the columns from the first to the last column. And now I will select the option that says under home, I'll click on remove rows and select the option that says duplicate rows. This will remove all the duplicate rows and my job now is extremely simple. I'll simply click on close and load and see, boom, the data is completely available on the sheet. Here, I do not only see the data from Australia, but from other countries as well. But let's say I see this, there is some star over here. So whenever if I would like to go ahead and edit the query, that is also extremely simple because here we have the queries in connection. Let's assume that I close it. How do I get it back? I'll again switch to data tab and click on queries in connection. It brings it back. Here is the query that I've written. I'll simply double click on it to reopen the Power Query editor. Over here, when I click on runs, here I will simply find all these stars and delete them. How do I delete them? I go to split columns and I select delimiter, and now I would select star because star is something which I want to split it. I click on star and I click OK. This creates one more column. I'll go ahead and remove that column. I have other text like TDNB and DNB. I click on TDNB and select replace value, and I would like this TDNB to be replaced with 0 and OK. Similarly, I click on this DNB and again select the option replace and replace it with 0 and click OK. So all those things have been replaced. All I want to do now is rename this column as runs. Once I rename that column as runs, this has all the runs. But if you see this column, the data is on the left hand side, which means it's not a number, but it's text. You can simply click over here and change the data type to whole number. But the people those who are using older version may not have this ABC. Again, not to worry. In home tab itself, there is an option data type text. You can select that option and click on whole number. So either you can do it from here directly or you can do it from here. So once this changes to the runs, I see all the other columns are perfect. My last task is to click on close and load. Simple. So now you can see that 275 records have been loaded. I also mentioned that the people those who are using older version might not get all these features. Like there was a simple combine feature that we clicked on and got the files merged together. But let me tell you one thing. The people those who already have the updated Power Query, should they be looking at those new steps that I'm going to talk about? Of course, yes. Because in that, you will learn the way you can customize the existing query. What if you do not have combine, or what if you have to include some other criteria? How do you write formula? How do you write M language? That is what I'm going to explain next. So please tune in to the video and watch till the end. So now here, I'm just going to fast forward all the steps that we have done till the point where we have imported the data. On the screen, the older version people either would not see the screen, or if they would see, then they won't find combine option. So they have only one option to be clicked on, that is edit. Here, either you will see edit or transform data. Both are nothing but the same thing. So I click on transform data. So now from here, every person who's using Power Query will have the same screen and the steps are exactly the same. Now you can see a lot of other property related columns which talks about the property of that file, which I don't need. I can simply do right click on content and remove other columns. So I don't need any other column except content, because this is the main file which has got the data. Now observe this column here. If I click on binary, it is going to expand the first file, which I don't want to do because I don't want only one file but merged data file as an output. So I won't click on the text binary, but I will click on this space available. When I click on it, here you can see Australia copy XLSX. When you see Australia, that means this particular row has got the data of Australia. If I click here, this particular row has got the file for Bangladesh. So that means now this particular column has got all the file and the data along with it. But unfortunately, we cannot expand it. Here, the latest version people will have this expand combine files button. If they click on it, that will work. Even the older version people will have this combine files. But let me tell you, in older version, this combine file used to combine only text files or CSV files, not Excel, right? So we will have to follow the steps further. What I'll do now, I'll click on add column and add custom column. Now let me tell you, why are we adding custom column? I see that the file is available here, but to extract the data from that file, we'll have to write a query. And in order to write that query, we are clicking on custom column. So here I have custom column. I'll name that column as get data. And after I click on get data, I will write a simple command here, excel.workbook, and double click on this content and close the bracket. Although the commands look simple, but few things that you need to know. First thing, this command is highly case sensitive. If you write this Excel with small e, it is going to give you the error. See here, it gives you the error. So make sure that you do not make any mistake while writing the command. Here E should be capital and here W should be capital. Once I've written that command, if it shows the message that no syntax errors have been detected, you are good to go ahead and click on OK. That has extracted the data. Once it has extracted the data, I don't need this content column anymore. I can simply delete or remove this content column. What I'll do, I'll click on this expand option. When I select, you will see different columns are popping up. I'll ensure that I uncheck this option that says use original column name as prefix. That means here this name column, it is going to expand it and split that data into these columns. So this name will be seen as get data dot name, get data dot data, get data dot item. I don't need those prefixes, so I'm unchecking this option and I click OK. When I click OK, you will see that these columns have got added and there is one column data which has got the table. I click on that table and you will see the table is now visible here. Again, this data belongs to Australia, but there's one more problem with this data, that the first row is not being considered as a header, right? So we will have to write one more command, and that is also a very simple command that I have to write. But before that, these columns have some meaning. I'm not getting into the meaning of these columns, but they are equally important. But for now, I'm just going to remove all of them. I do right click on that data and select remove other column. So I'll add one more custom column. Here, I will write header. Now, why are we writing this command? To make Power Query understand the first row of each row of this table should be treated as a header row. So the command here is very simple. Table dot promote headers, open parenthesis. I'll double click on this data, close the bracket. Once again, I would like to bring to your notice that this is highly case sensitive, and here the table has T capital, promote has P capital, headers have H capital. After selecting the entire data, I will now click on OK. Let's observe this new column. When I click here, I see the first row is now being considered as a header row, and here I click and first row is not the header row. So I'll delete that data column, and I have this header column. Now the next step is very simple. I see the first row is now being considered as a header row. All I have to do is expand this column. I'll once again ensure that this box is not checked. I click OK and see all the columns are available here. Now I'm going to do the same formatting steps. So I'm again going to fast forward. These steps are going to be exactly same which I did earlier. So friends, now if you take a look at this window, I have done every step which the previous combine option had done. I'll rename this query with old power query. And all I have to do is close and load. This will now fetch, see, both the data are nothing but the same data, right? So this is with respect to old power query and this is the new power query. Now both has the same set of steps. So the Power Query window that we have seen, there are plenty of options, and friends, believe me, you can transform the data to an unimaginable way, and you can reduce the steps that you use to minimum. But now you would think that if I have to do all these steps, why would I do it with Power Query? Because it's only merging of files that it is doing. What else does it offer? So friends, now watch this particular part completely because this is the climax of this entire video. So I'll again close and load. And now let's say I would like to create a simple summary. So I go to insert and I will not click on pivot table, but select the option recommended pivot table. This option is only available for 2013 and 16 users, not available for 2010. See, in this recommended, Excel automatically suggests what are the reports, possible reports that can be created. So I am not choosing other reports. I'm selecting the first one and I'm clicking on OK. For the people, those who are using 2010, they just need to drag country to rows and runs to values. That's it. And you get this table. I will, for my understanding, sort it in descending order. And see, these are the countries against which Sachin Tendulkar has played. But you will strongly disagree that Sachin has played with a lot more other countries than what is being seen on the screen. So that means we have some missing data here. But I do have other data which is available in Sachin data too. Now, I'll simply copy all the data and go back to my Sachin and paste the new data. Now this data we had already imported. This data is not the part of my query right now. This data is not included in my pivot table report. Also, the problem with the data is there are a lot of duplicate files. Do you see this South Africa and South Africa copy? So these are nothing but duplicate data. Whatever steps that I have done so far, I do not want to do it again because I have written Power Query, which is definitely a powerful query. I will go back to my file and see how long does it take for me to add those files and bring the details here. So this is the data where 275 rows have been loaded. I click refresh and you will see that it has within a second or fraction of second loaded 811 records. So all the data which were not available earlier are now the part of this new query. I go to my pivot table report. This hasn't refreshed. I do simple right click and click on refresh. To my surprise, you will see that the data now is available to me. So I can do a deeper analysis of this data. And now I found out that Sachin has scored highest number of runs against Australia. To make it even more interesting, I'll add one more dimension to this data. I add format to columns and see now I can do even more analysis of this data, which gives me the details of Sachin Tendulkar that he has scored 18,426 runs in ODI, 15,921 in Test, and only 10 runs in T20. Now, this is surprising information for me that he has scored only 10 runs in T20. Possibly he would have played only one match. We can even find out more information from this data, but I'm not getting into the details of pivot table report, but my idea was to tell you how simple is it to work with Power Query. I just wrote two commands even if I had the older version. But in new version, I don't even need to write those commands. So friend, in this example, you can compare it with your weekly or monthly reports that you create. Let's say last month you get some report. This month also you have to do the same reports. Just program the steps in Power Query and leave it to create the reports in future. Let me tell you about my experience with one of the gentlemen. The gentleman gets daily sales report every day. And all he does is, in that sales report, he was from southern region. So he's least concerned about the data belonging to other regions. So first thing that he would do in that data is he would manually filter out the regions that belong to south. There were almost 13 regions of south. He would select each one of them and filter them. Next thing that he would do is he will remove certain columns which are not required, because most of the time there are plenty of columns which comes along with the data which we don't need. So he would remove all those columns, and then he would do VLOOKUP, pivot table, and stuff like that, and he would create the report. Imagine he used to spend almost 15 to 20 minutes to do this task every day. Remember, every day. And trust me, I programmed the entire thing with Power Query, and it took me not more than 3 seconds to redo the report the next day. That means once I programmed it, all I had to do is refresh. Like I said, Power Query also has the option. Once you go to data, go to online services. Here you have the option of Microsoft Exchange Online. That means this can help you to fetch the data from your email and create the report. Now let me tell you, he used to get the report from one particular person every day. He has programmed it directly from the mail, and now his report is ready. 9 o'clock he gets in, and by 9:05 he mails the report to all his peers. 5 minutes he takes to turn on the laptop and all those things. But within 5 minutes he is able to send the latest report. So friends, let me tell you once again that Power Query is very important for every professional. I invite you to attend my training program, which is happening on 17th and 18th of November, where I'm going to explain all these things in detail. Make sure you do not miss this opportunity to learn Power Query in the training program. I also mentioned that once you get the data in Excel, you have imported a lot of data. Now, you would like to transform the data into a meaningful information, and it should be presentable, it should be automatic, and it should be an innovative report that you can send to your bosses. So this is nothing but a dynamic dashboard. So friend, make sure you do not miss these two training programs, which is happening in Mumbai. Day 1 is Power Query, day 2 is Excel dashboard. If you're interested and you do not live in Mumbai, don't worry. Fill the form below. We will definitely come to your city and do the program. Thank you very much, friends. I hope you guys have learned something new. And if you have liked it, let me request you to hit the like button, share the video, write the comment so that I can understand what are your expectations in my upcoming video. And please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. So here, Pradip Pardeshi is signing off. Take care. Bye-bye.